The rain fell hard on the rocks of Mirrodin, for the sky was dark, full of thick clouds. Wind howled across the sharp cliffs. Kara Hale, a human surveyor, moved carefully over the slippery ground. Her boots were wet. Her jacket was heavy with rain. She was cold and tired, but she had a job to do. She needed to scan the land, collect samples, and send a report back to her ship. She walked alone, her scanner in one hand and her rifle in the other. This planet was wild. Dangerous animals lived here. She had to stay alert then. She heard something strange. It was not the wind, not the rain. It was a sound like crying. She stopped walking, turned her head. There it was, again soft hype. Like a baby. Kara moved toward the sound, careful not to slip. She climbed over rocks and down a small hill. The noise got louder. When she reached the bottom, she saw it. A small creature was stuck in a shallow pool of water. The pool was made from rain and runoff from the hills. The creature was weak, barely moving. It had silver blue scales, a long tail, and tiny wings. Its eyes were half closed. It was trying to breathe, but water was all around it. Kara's heart stopped. It was a baby dragon, a Drakari, Hatchling. Kara knew what it was. She had read the reports. The Drakari were an alien race, strong, proud, and dangerous. They were enemies of the human colonies. But this one was just a baby. Kara looked around. No adult dragons nearby. No one to save it. She stood there, unsure. Her training told her, stay away. Do not touch alien life. But the baby made another sound, a weak cry. It was drowning. Kara dropped her scanner and rifle. She ran down to the pool. The water was cold, and her boots sank in mud. She reached in and grabbed the baby dragon with both hands. It was lighter than she expected. Its body was thin, shaking, and cold. It hissed softly, but didn't fight. Kara pulled it out of the water and hugged it close to her chest. Rain hit her face, but she didn't care. You're all right now, she whispered. I've got you. She took it back up the hill, step by step. Her arms were full. The dragon's head rested on her shoulder. When she reached her camp, she placed the creature inside her emergency tent. She wrapped it in a thermal blanket and lit a heat lamp. The dragon's eyes blinked slowly. It didn't make any noise now, just soft breathing. Kara sat beside it. What are you doing, Kara? She said to herself. You just broke every rule. In the book, she should have left it. She should have walked away. But something inside her refused to let it die. It was not a soldier. It was not a threat. It was just a baby who needed help. That night, the rain continued to fall. Kara stayed awake, watching the tiny creature sleep. She didn't know what would happen next. She didn't know if the Drakari would come looking for their young. But in that moment, she didn't care. She had made a choice, and deep in her heart, she hoped it was the right one. The morning came slowly. Rain had stopped, but the clouds were still heavy in the sky. The ground outside Kara's camp was wet and muddy. Inside the small tent, the baby dragon was still sleeping under the warm blanket. Kara sat nearby, drinking a cup of rehydrated coffee. Her eyes stayed on the little creature. She had stayed up most of the night, checking its breathing. Several times, the baby had shivered or made soft noises. She didn't know if it was cold, in pain, or dreaming. Now, it looked a little better. Its silver blue scales had a soft shine. Its chest moved slowly, but steady. Kara reached out and gently touched its head. The dragon's skin was warm now. Its eyes opened, slightly big, golden, and full of light. "You're awake," Kara whispered. "That's good." The dragon blinked at her. Then it made a soft sound like a chirp. It wasn't a cry this time. Kara smiled. "You're not scared anymore, are you?" She picked up a small ration bar and broke off a piece. She held it out. The dragon sniffed it, then licked it once. After a second, it took the food in its mouth and chewed. Kara laughed quietly. "You've got an appetite. That's a good sign." For the next hour, she watched the little dragon explore the tent. It could barely walk, but it tried. Its wings twitched once or twice, like it wanted to fly but didn't know how. It bumped into a supply box and sneezed. A tiny spark of fire came out of its mouth. Kara's eyes widened. "Careful there, Firestarter." She reached for her datapad and made a quick note. "Baby Drakari shows early fire ability. Size small. Wings underdeveloped. Behavior peaceful." She paused. Then she added, "Attached to me," because it was true. Wherever she moved, the dragon followed. When she sat, it curled beside her. It watched her with curious eyes, like she was the only thing in its world. She decided to give it a name. "How about Ash?" she said aloud. "Short and simple. You look like a little spark." The dragon chirped again, as if approving. Kara smiled and scratched the soft skin under its chin. Ash closed his eyes and leaned into her hand, but the peaceful moment didn't last. Later that afternoon, Kara's camp alarm beeped. Incoming life forms detected. Distance 900 meters. Kara's heart jumped. She looked at her scanner. 3 large, fast. "Drakari," she said under her breath. She turned to Ash. He was staring at the tent door. His body was low, wings tight, eyes glowing bright. He knew they were coming. Kara grabbed her rifle and moved outside. The sky was dark again. The wind had picked up in the distance. She saw shadows flying through the clouds. She looked down at Ash, who had followed her outside. "I don't know if they're your family," she said softly. "I don't know if they'll thank me, or burn me alive." Ash pressed his small head against her leg. Kara felt a strange calm from his touch. "No matter what happens," she whispered, "I won't let them hurt you." The sky rumbled. The shapes grew closer. Kara stood straight, weapon ready in one hand, the other gently resting on Ash's back. Enemies or not, she would face them, because she had saved this life, and she wasn't going to give it up. The sound of wings filled the sky. Kara stood outside her tent, rifle in her hand, heart beating fast. Ash stayed close to her feet, his small body tense. The 3 flying shapes were closer now. They were big, much bigger than she expected. One had golden scales that shone in the dim light. Another was deep red, and the third was dark grey, like smoke. They flew in a perfect triangle, fast, silent, powerful. Kara raised her rifle but didn't aim. She didn't want to shoot. Not unless she had to. The dragons circled above once, then slowly came down. They landed on the muddy ground with loud thuds. Their wings folded, their eyes locked on Kara. The golden one stepped forward. It was the largest, with long horns and deep, glowing eyes. Ash made a sound, a high, soft cry. He stepped forward, but didn't run. Kara looked down. "Stay close," she whispered. The golden dragon spoke. His voice was deep, but calm. The words came through her translator chip. "You hold our flameborn," he said. Kara tightened her grip on the rifle. "I saved him from drowning," the red dragon growled. "You are human, yes, Kara answered. I found him alone, hurt. He would have died. The dark grey dragon moved to the side, watching her closely. His eyes were colder. The golden dragon looked at Ash. He is my kin, my blood. Kara hesitated, then stepped back. She gently pushed Ash forward. If you want to take him, take him. Ash looked up at her, then back at the dragons. But he didn't move. He stayed by her side. The red one hissed. He rejects us. No, the golden one said. He has. Bonded, he turned to Kara. You gave warmth, you gave food, you gave life. We do not forget this. Kara frowned. So, you're not angry? The golden dragon stepped closer. Kara's heart pounded, but she didn't move. He lowered his head until his eyes were level with hers. We are not angry. We are ... surprised. Then the grey dragon spoke for the first time. His voice was quiet, like smoke. No human has touched a flameborn and lived. I didn't want him to die, Kara said simply. A long silence passed. Then the golden dragon stepped back. He turned to the others. She is not enemy. She is marked. The red dragon looked confused. Marked by what? By choice, the golden one said. By fire, the bond is made. Suddenly, the red dragon moved forward and raised one glowing claw. Kara flinched, but didn't run. He touched her arm lightly. A small burning light appeared on her skin. It didn't hurt. It felt warm. A mark shaped like a flame stayed there, soft gold, pulsing gently. Kara stared at it. What ... is this? Life debt, said the red one. He is not just your rescue. He is your pack now. Kara looked at Ash. He nuzzled her leg gently. Then the golden dragon said something that made her breath catch. When the time is right, he will return to you. The three dragons turned. Without another word, they spread their wings and rose into the sky. Ash gave a soft cry, but followed. He looked back only once. Kara stood still, her heart heavy. He was gone, but somehow she knew this was not the end. Not even close. The skies over Mirrodin 4 were quiet now. The wind was softer. The rain had stopped. But Kara felt a storm inside her heart. Ash was gone. Kara sat alone beside the cold fire pit near her camp. The baby dragon who once curled beside her was now flying with giants. She had let him go. That was the right thing to do. Still, it hurt. More than she thought it would. She looked down at her arm. The flame-shaped mark was still there, soft and golden. It pulsed gently, like it was alive. Kara had seen many things on distant planets. Alien storms, crystal forests, shadow beasts. But nothing had ever left a mark on her soul like this. She touched the flame mark and whispered, "Be safe, little one." 2 days later, her ship came to pick her up. The AI pilot asked no questions. It never did. Kara sat silently as the shuttle rose into the sky. Mirrodin 4 grew smaller beneath her feet, but the memory of Ash stayed large in her mind. Back at station, Arden 7, everything looked the same. Bright lights, metal walls, uniforms. Reports Kara turned in her samples and filled out her logs. She didn't mention Ash. Not in the official files. No one would believe her. And even if they did, they would come hunting. She couldn't risk that, but she couldn't forget either. Weeks passed. Kara worked on other missions, planet scans, asteroid mapping, cargo runs. Her life was back to normal, or so it seemed, but something had changed. She found herself looking at the stars more often. At night, she would walk to the highest deck of the station and stare out at the galaxy. Sometimes, she thought she heard wings in the silence. Sometimes, she dreamed of golden eyes and warm scales. One evening, her friend Jonah met her in the cafeteria. He laughed when he saw the food untouched on her plate. "You've been quiet lately," he said, sitting across from her. "Fall in love with a moon or something?" Kara gave a small smile. "Something like that." He noticed the faint golden mark on her arm that knew. She pulled her sleeve down, just a burn. Jonah shrugged and kept talking about his boring supply job. Kara barely listened. She was thinking about Ash, wondering if he was growing, if he still remembered her. She hoped he did. One night, she was alone in her quarters, going through maps of old Drakari regions. It was useless, she told herself, but still, she searched. That's when the mark on her arm pulsed brighter than before. Just once. Like a heartbeat, she sat up straight. What was that? No answer came, but her gut told her Hash was alive. And maybe, just maybe, he was thinking about her too. Later that week, Kara received a message from Central Command. A strange one, unusual Drakari activity spotted near Outer System. No attacks, no damage, just ... watching. Some thought it was a warning. Others thought it was a mistake. But Kara wasn't afraid. She smiled quietly to herself. "They're not watching," she whispered. "They're waiting." She didn't know when it would happen or how, but deep down she felt the truth. The bond was real. The promise had been made, and the Flameborn would return. War had returned to the stars. The human colonies near the outer ring were under attack, not by Drakari, but by something worse. They came from beyond the known system. Strange ships, black like shadow, silent like the grave. No name, no signal, no mercy. They destroyed everything in their path. No warnings, no demands, just destruction. Station Ardent 7 was now on high alert. Alarms rang. Soldiers ran through the halls. Ships were being armed. Missions changed. Kara stood in the middle of it all, watching the chaos. She had been called back to service, not as a surveyor, as a fighter. She suited up in armor she hadn't worn in years, held a rifle heavier than she remembered. But her hands were steady, her eyes sharp. The fire inside her had returned. In the war room, the commanders gave orders, maps lit up with red dots. One colony had already fallen. 2 more were calling for help. "They strike fast," one general said, "and they don't talk. We don't know who they are." Kara listened, silent. Her thoughts were racing. She had faced danger before. Wild creatures, harsh planets. But this was different. It felt like death was moving through space itself. Her first mission was to lead a scout team to a destroyed station near the outer edge. The place had gone dark 2 days ago. No signal, no survivors. Kara boarded the shuttle with her Team 4 soldiers. All nervous, she wasn't. She kept thinking of the golden mark on her arm. Of Ash. Would he sense the danger too? Was he watching? From the skies, when they reached the dead station, everything was silent. No lights, no signs of life. The team entered carefully, weapons ready. Inside, the walls were blackened. Machinery melted. No blood, no bodies, just ... absence, as if life had been erased. What the hell did this? One soldier whispered. Kara didn't answer. She was looking at strange marks, burned into the metal walls. Symbols. They were not human. Not Drakari either. Something older, colder. Suddenly, a sound echoed through the station, a screeching noise, sharp and metallic. Move! Kara shouted. The team turned. Something crawled from the shadows. Tall, thin, bone-like arms. No eyes, no mouth. It moved like a nightmare. They opened fire. The creature screamed and the walls shook. They brought it down, but 2 men were already bleeding. One was gone. Kara dragged the survivors back to the ship. Her armor was burned, her hands shaking. But they made it, just barely, back on the station. The report was filed. Unknown enemy, fast, silent, deadly, needs reinforcements. Kara stood alone in the medbay, staring at her reflection. Her face was tired, eyes cold. She touched the golden mark. It was glowing again, brighter than before. She didn't know what it meant, but something was coming. She could feel it, not just war, change, that night. As she rested in her quarters, another strange thing happened. She heard a sound, soft, familiar, a distant echo in her mind. A voice, not human, not words, but clear. Hold. The flame, we see you. Kara sat up straight. Her heart raced. She whispered one word, Ash. No answer came. But the fire inside her grew stronger. The enemy was rising, and something else was rising to meet it. 3 weeks passed. The war spread. Faster than anyone expected. More colonies fell. More lives lost. The enemy still had no name. They moved like ghosts. Silent ships. Shadow creatures. No fear. No reason. Kara fought in every mission she could. She flew into burning skies. She led rescue runs. She helped rebuild fallen outposts. But inside, she waited. She waited for the feeling, for the call. For him, it happened during a battle near the mining moon of Sir-9. Her unit was surrounded. Enemy ships had cut off their escape. They had no way out. Lasers fired across the sky. Explosions shook the ground. Her ship was damaged. One wing torn. Kara tried to guide it to safety, but the system was failing. The engine sparked. Lights died. They were going down. Brace for impact. She yelled. The ship hit the rocky ground hard. Metal screamed. Fire burst from the side. Kara blacked out for a moment. When she opened her eyes, everything was smoke and noise. Her helmet was cracked. Her leg hurt. She looked around. The other pilot wasn't moving. Then silence. No sound of battle. No enemy. Fire. Nothing. Only a strange light outside, soft and golden. Kara pulled herself to the broken door and looked out, and her breath caught. A massive shape stood in the dust. Wings spread wide, scales glowing like fire, eyes deep and bright. It was him, Ash, but not the small, weak baby she once held. He was full-grown, now taller than her ship, strong and majestic. His silver-blue scales shimmered with power. He looked straight at her, and for a moment Kara forgot the war, the pain, everything. She stepped forward, limping. Ash. He let out a soft growl, low and deep, but not threatening. He moved closer, his giant head lowered to her level, and gently. He touched his snout to the mark on her arm. It glowed, bright and warm. Kara felt the connection, real, alive. Stronger than ever, her heart filled with something she hadn't felt in weeks. Hope, Ash roared. Suddenly, a mighty powerful sound that shook the ground from above. Enemy ships appeared again, circling. But Ash wasn't afraid. He lifted into the sky, wings beating like thunder. He rose fast, light surrounding him, and then fire, golden fire. It came from his mouth in a wide blast, burning through 2 enemy ships in seconds. Kara watched from below, eyes wide. He was no baby now. He was a force of nature. Within minutes, the battle changed. More Drakari dragons appeared, 5, then 10. Flying behind Ashdod, they attacked in perfect harmony. The enemy had no defense. The sky lit up with fire and lightning. Kara felt tears in her eyes. The dragons had returned, not just to fight, but to protect, and they had followed him. Ashdod later, Kara sat on a medical ship, her leg wrapped. She watched the sky through the window. Ash flew above, circling once before landing beside the ship. He lowered his head again. She reached out and touched his warm scales. "Why did you come now?" she asked. He didn't speak with words, but the mark on her arm pulsed, and somehow she understood. "Because you called." She smiled. The war wasn't over, but she wasn't alone anymore. The Flameborn had returned, and together they would rise. The final battle was near. Command had received word. The enemy fleet was gathering near the Black Planet. Varnax, a place where no light reached, a place where hope died. But this time, the humans were not alone. The sky was filled with dragons. Drakari warriors flew beside human ships, fire and wings ready. The 2 species, once enemies, now stood as one at the heart of this new alliance. Were 2 souls, Corlin, Kara, Dot, and Ash. On the main battlecruiser, Kara stood in full armor. Her body was still healing, but her spirit burned bright. Ash waited outside the ship, wings folded, his golden eyes calm. Kara looked out the window. Their eyes met, and the mark on her arm glowed softly. He was ready, so was she. The enemy was coming, and they would not run. The dark ships appeared first, like shadows crawling through space. Silent, endless. Strange creatures moved between them, long, sharp, without eyes. They made no sound. They wanted only destruction. The human fleet formed in lines. The Drakari dragons roared and took flight. Kara climbed on Ash's back. It had taken weeks to train for this, but now she moved like she belonged there. Ash rose into the stars, his wings cutting through the blackness. The sky exploded with light, lasers, fire, roars. The battle had begun. Kara and Ash flew fast, weaving between enemy ships. Ash's fire melted through the shadows. Kara fired her blaster at anything that got too close. Above them, Drakari dragons attacked together, breathing fire in patterns. Human fighters covered them, blasting enemies out of the sky. It was chaos. It was war. But for the first time, they were united, and they were winning. Then, something huge moved in the dark. The enemy leader, a ship so big it looked like a floating mountain, covered in sharp spines and black light. It fired a pulse, a wave of darkness. Ships exploded. Dragons screamed. Kara felt the power hit her chest like ice. Ash roared. But he kept flying. "We have to stop it," Kara said. Ash turned toward the dark ship. The others tried to follow, but the pulse pushed them back. Only Ash flew straight. Into it, Kara held tight. "We do this together." They reached the heart of the enemy. A glowing core inside the ship pulsed like a beating heart, dark and alive. Kara aimed her weapon, but the shadows began to close in. Ash flew fast, spun, dodged. The spikes and beams. The mark on Kara's arm burned like fire. Her body glowed with the same golden light. Then she understood. "It's not just you," she whispered. "It's both of us." She stood on Ash's back, raised her hand toward the core. The mark blazed, a beam of pure fire, Drakari and human. Energy shot out from her palm. It hit the core. The ship screamed. The darkness cracked. The enemy began to fall apart. One by one, the black ships shattered. The dark sky turned to light. Silence followed. The war was over. Ash flew down to the nearest human base. Kara slid off his back, shaking but alive. People ran to her, cheering. Soldiers clapped. Dragons roared in celebration. But Kara only looked at Ash, and he looked back at her. "You came back," she said softly. He nudged her shoulder with his nose, and in her heart she heard it again. "You were never alone." That night, under stars that were finally free, humans and Drakari stood side by side. Kara sat beside the fire, her hand on Ash's warm scales. The galaxy had changed, but so had she. No longer just a soldier, no longer just human. She was something more, the one who held the flame, and she knew this was only the beginning.